Perfect. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'm just excited to be here with the audience that we have and the people who will be watching this later on. We know that this is going to be an incredible training, and I want it to be a little interactive as well. So you'll be moving around a little and you'll be really thinking and taking notes too. So we are going to be talking about partnering with God to overcome what I call your inner dream stealer. And that is that negative voice that we all have in the back of our mind that tells us we're not good enough. We're all very familiar with that voice. So one of the biggest feelings that we're dealing with right now in this whole new normal situation is overwhelm, right? Like all of us are dealing with that on a pretty large basis. One, because we don't even know what the new norm is at this moment. And then with everything else that's happening in the world around us, we have so much on our plate than we ever have before, especially women entrepreneurs who are juggling family and business and everything else in between. So if you are feeling like you are dropping the ball on, different things, and you're just feeling like a failure in general, or you're having a hard time really controlling those emotions and letting them control you, or we're just completely tired and exhausted by all those negative thoughts that are running through our heads, such as fear, doubt, and scarcity, and you're just tired of beating yourself up, I can tell you that you are not alone. There is so much that is going on in our world right now that no wonder you feel this way. But we're going to give you some tools to be able to help you get out of overwhelm, because I want you to be able to feel more peace and joy in your life, because we are meant to have joy. I want you to believe in yourself to really succeed and take your business to the next level and to achieve your goals with ease and fun, because it's not meant to be hard. And I hate the word grind. Whoever came up with that concept, it just sounds so terrible to grind your way to success. No, we're going to do that with ease and fun. And you're going to learn and implement a tool today that can really help you to feel empowered and take back those emotions and those feelings and those thoughts that you have in any situation, so that you really can achieve your dreams. So if you are excited about that, I am super right there with you, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So my company is called Divinely Driven Results, and I empower Christian ladypreneurs like yourself to partner with God to achieve your sales goals. And we really do that in 3 different ways. One is centering right on God. What can we do to help you gain a closer relationship with Him? And then how can we empower your mindset, which is very much what we're going to be talking about today. And then having a biblical business strategy that is going to help you to build your business in the Lord's way. So if you want information, check out divinelydrivenresults.com. I'm Elise Smith, and I am a faith-based business coach, and I have been coaching for about 10 years now, and I absolutely love what I do. And that's on the professional side. And the personal side, that you don't get to see my cute little picture of my pup son, but I have a Shih Tzu Terrier. I'm a pup mom of like a little 14-pound fluff ball that we named Spike. And my husband and I, we absolutely love to vacation and travel before COVID. And I love to be silly. And that's a little bit about who I am. And I'm excited to be here with you to be able to empower you with this amazing tool that God has given me and my clients as well. So let's jump right in here to what is really holding you back. I want you to think about, or even write down, a goal or a dream that you're working towards right now. And oftentimes we think it's the external things that are holding us back from achieving that goal or that dream. And that can sometimes be the easy part. But the hard part, and what we don't always realize has that much power over us, is our internal thoughts and feelings. We know this concept of like an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other shoulder. And the fact of the matter is I love in Mark 3:25 how it says, "And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand." And we think about that with 2 different types of people, right? Like maybe a husband and a wife, or a brother and sister, or whatever that kind of argument is. But think about it in your own mind. You have the positive side that's like, yes, I can do anything. And then you have the other side that's like, no, I'm a complete failure. And you go back and forth all the time. And girl, it is exhausting, isn't it? To go back and forth all the time like that. And so we can think about that as like those 2 sides kind of arguing, and that if if we're divided against each other, then we can't stand. We can't have that power that we are meant to have as daughters of God to be able to achieve those purposes that God has given us. So we're going to get really familiar with your inner dream stealer so that you can have that division taken away in yourself and you can believe in yourself 100%. So let's move on here to meeting your inner dream stealer. So my inner dream stealer came up for me, many, many years ago when I was in network marketing, and I was at this seminar. And I was so frustrated because I had set these goals month after month to try and hit in my business, and I just wasn't getting anywhere near them. And so we're at this seminar, and they have this thing called edutainment, where they will like basically act out this whole skit that will help you to learn a business principle that they're teaching. Really, really effective, and I absolutely loved it most of the time, except for this one. So the trainer was up there, and he's going through this skit, and every single time he saw his reflection in a mirror or a TV screen or something like that, he would be yelling at himself these awful, awful things, which may sound familiar to us, like you're just gonna fail, and why do you even try, and you're not smart, and they don't care about you, and all these terrible things. And that's what we say to ourselves. And it's crazy what we get away with saying to ourselves in the dark recesses of our mind where nobody else can hear. And later on in this skit, this kind of himself comes to him and says, 10 years down the road, you're going to have this and this and this, and you're going to have this amazing, beautiful life, but you will not be able to do so if you don't stop talking to yourself that way. And it was like, wow, I had never heard my self-talk in that powerful way before, in that external circumstance kind of way. And so I look around, and everybody in the audience is like laughing and having a good time with this. And my husband looks at me, and I'm just ugly crying. Like, I am just absolutely devastated because I didn't realize I was saying those types of things to myself on like a not only daily basis, but almost every single minute of every day. And of course, no wonder I wasn't getting anywhere. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if you believe you can't, then that is exactly what you're going to get, is that can't energy and that failure over and over and over again. And up until that point, I mean, I was an adult, and I had never even realized that you can control your own thoughts and your own emotions. I always thought you just had to kind of like play damage control for whatever really happened. And in that moment, I said to myself, I refuse to let my inner dream stealer steal away my dreams by me having that negative talk and those negative feelings against myself. Because we are daughters of God, and you don't think that God wants you to talk to yourself that way. His daughter, it's kind of like saying, that God would say to Alicia, and he would say, Alicia, stop talking so mean about my daughter, right? Like he wouldn't want us to talk that way about ourselves. And so it was that moment where I came face to face with my inner dream stealer. And that's what I want to give you guys today. Not only tools to be able to overcome that, but I want you to really think about, where does your inner dream stealer come up the most? Because we know that that is the adversary. That's Satan that's going in and twisting these things and making you believe all these terrible lies about yourself or your circumstances. And so just think for a second and take a moment to write down, how does your inner dream stealer show up for you? When does it show up for you? Is there a time that you feel like that voice goes off super, super loud and you don't feel like there's anything you can do about it? And for instance, my husband and I, when we were in this network marketing company, we signed ourselves up for a weekly networking event for an entire year. Guess how many we actually showed up at? 0. We could not get ourselves to walk through that door. And so for me, that was when my inner dream stealer was screaming the loudest, is when I needed to go to a networking event, or right before I asked for the sale, or whatever it is for you. Maybe you even see that in your home life where, you know, when the kids are fighting or things just don't seem to be going your way, that's when that voice gets louder and louder. So we have to know the enemy, right? And we want to know when those attacks are most likely to happen to us so that we can be prepared for that. So know when your inner dream stealer screams the loudest so that you can be prepared. And then also know, what does he say? What is he screaming at you? Because most of the time that voice boils down to, I'm not good enough. But maybe he tells you you're not beautiful. Maybe he tries to convince you that you're dumb. You know, all these terrible things that we can say to ourselves, but the fact of the matter is he makes it personal. He knows us, unfortunately, and he's going to make it personal. He's gonna make it hurt, and he's gonna make it feel believable. So really get in tune with yourself and figure out, how does he show up and what does he say to you in particular? All right, so we all know that our thoughts lead to our feelings lead to our actions, and our actions lead to our results. So if we want to control our results, we really need to start with our thoughts and our feelings. So let's say that you have a disempowering thought about money. Right? So if your disempowering thought is about money or about overwhelm or time is a big one, right? We always feel like we never have enough time. If that's the case, then we're saying these terrible things in our mind. So no wonder we're gonna feel like crap, right? We're gonna feel crummy. And so that crumminess is going to lead to action or even inaction. When I feel really overwhelmed, then I don't do anything, right? Sometimes you have that huge long list of tasks and you're like, oh, I don't even know where to start, so I'm just not gonna. And then it's a Netflix and chill night, right? So that can also be an action as well of inaction. And then of course the results means we don't get what we were hoping for because we didn't actually do the work that it required to have that. Or maybe we did the work, but it wasn't in a very good state of mind. So we know that that's how our results are created. So let's really focus on our thoughts. So I'm going to teach you the 4 C's to changing your thoughts and your feelings. And I want you to really remember these. So it's going to be a little bit silly here, but we're going to do some actions to help you remember it. So what it is check in, challenge, choose, and change. So check in, challenge, choose, and change. All right, did great. And so what this is going to do is it's going to help us to renew our mind. In Romans 12:2, it says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And what we're doing is we're taking back our power from the adversary and from kind of the natural man of who we are anyway. And we're co-creating with God for what we actually want to have in our lives. So we're going to go through this step by step here. So first off is we need to check in with ourselves. And most of the time we let our minds go running rampant like a 2-year-old, you know, after they've just eaten a whole bunch of Halloween candy. And we don't always rein that in. And so I want you to check in with yourself on a regular basis. Sometimes I've had clients that will set an alarm every hour where they'll just check in with themselves and they'll say, okay, how am I feeling and what are those thoughts that are leading to that feeling right now? Especially if you're feeling disempowered, if you're depressed or you're frustrated or you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, check in with yourself and kind of follow that train back to where that started of, okay, what were the thoughts that made me actually feel this way? And when we do that often, then we can start to realize that we can control those by being aware of those in the first place. So check in with yourself on a regular basis for those disempowering thoughts. And then the next one here is challenge. You know, he makes those lies seem so believable for us. And he makes that really, really personal. And so I want you to really challenge that and say, wait a minute, how true is that thought really for me? You know, if your inner dream stealer is telling you that you are a failure, well, you got up out of bed this morning. Like, that's not a failure, right? And I want you to look for the opposite, which we'll do here in just a second, but really just check in with yourself and say, okay, how true is that really for me? Or you can even say, what's another way to look at that? Because just because you kind of quote unquote failed X amount of times, that actually means you're that much closer to getting success. And so it's up to us on how we filter that message. We could be like, yes, I am excited that I have had this many times where I had a learning experience, right? It's just kind of changing that perception. So then the next one is to choose. And this one is, what thought or feeling do you actually want to have in this moment? So kind of taking a look back at that networking experience that I had where, you know, I didn't want to feel disempowered. I didn't want to feel scared or like nobody really cared what I had to say or, you know, that kind of thing. I wanted to feel motivated and I wanted to feel like I had purpose to be there and that was the right thing to do. And so we have been given agency in order to be able to choose what we really want. So you get to decide, what thought or feeling do you want to have in this situation? And then that last one is change. And that can seem so easy, right? Like, just change your thoughts. Well, how do you do that? So now that we've chosen what we actually want to think or feel, and you can do this in like literally 30 seconds, but how can you be reminded of that thought? So maybe there's a color that every single time that you see this color, for me, it's this teal in the background for my, you know, at the bottom of my screen here. That is my color of empowerment. Like, that just gets me revved up. And every time that I see that, I'm reminded of my purpose. So maybe there's a color that you can remind yourself of that thought of success or whatever it is that you want to remind yourself of. Or you can ask yourself, what's helped me get into that mode in the past? Maybe you are sitting on the couch and watching too many Netflix shows and you want to just motivate yourself to get up and go work your business. Well, maybe there's a TED Talk that you can watch that would get you fired up. Pretty much anything from Tony Robbins gets me fired up. But it's our choice to be able to actually do that. Or maybe if you want more peace, then you have some scriptures that you go to that you read all the time, or you just decide to pray or meditate. Have that toolbox for yourself to know how you can kind of shift your own thoughts and your feelings so that you can do what worked before for you. I also play a game of like, what would it be like if? So maybe you don't feel very confident going into that networking event or that online networking event in this case, and you want to be able to feel confident. So you say to yourself, what would it be like if I was confident? What were the thoughts that would go through my mind? What would I look like? You know, how would I hold myself? And kind of almost that pretend like, okay, this is what it would look like if I felt confident, so I'm gonna just act it out, right? Almost the fake it till you make it concept. And then the most powerful tool you can have, in my opinion, is, what proof do you have of your actual truth? You see, it's almost like Satan has this like courtroom, right? You're in this courtroom and there's the judge and Satan's on one side and he's like, you know, you're a failure because of this, 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 and this. And he just lays out all of that proof, all the way back from kindergarten when you failed your first test. Like, you know, he just brings all that stuff in. And that's the thing, is that if we focus on, you know, what we focus on expands. And if we focus on those failures, then we will see those failures or that lie that Satan is trying to shove in our face. But when we choose what we are, you know, when we follow this process, we kind of move that stuff off to the side. And then when we change and we look for the proof of the opposite, that's when we can really silence that inner dream stealer. All we're doing is turning down the volume, because that voice is always going to be in the back of your mind, but we want to just turn down that volume. So I want you to choose one of these things that is going going to help you to change in that moment when you need that the most. Maybe you have a success journal that you write down every single day. This is how I was successful, if that's the message that you feel like you really need to work for yourself. Or maybe it's just in that moment, like when that negative thought comes in, then you come up with 5 proofs, I don't know if that's a word, items of proof, 5 things of proof that will show you that that was actually a lie. So that is the 4 C's to changing your thoughts and your feelings. So what are they? Check in, challenge, choose, and change. And as you do this, it will get easier and easier, because the truth is that we are daughters of God. And when we tap into that power, we can create anything that he wants us to create. And so I want you to really solidify this for yourself by remembering the truth about who you are. That's the thing, is that I want you to remember the truth about who you are. There are so many lies in our mind all the time that Satan is trying to convince us of and to tear us down. But when we know the truth and we step into that truth, we can accomplish anything. And these 4 C's will be able to help you to remember that and take back control of those inner dream stealer thoughts. Pretty exciting, huh? Awesome. So we know that we'll have empowered thoughts. So we'll be able to have those thoughts that will lead to those positive feelings that we want, like motivation, inspiration, confidence. And then we'll be able to take action on those thoughts and those feelings, and that will give us the results that we're looking for. So I want you to just think about for a second, what is God's message for you? Whether that has anything to do with what we just talked about, or maybe there's a specific message that he has. And as we get closer and closer to the Lord and we turn to him for everything, and the guidance and that next step will be shown to us. And so what I want to do is, I hope you found incredible value in this step here today. And I really, really appreciate you guys kind of playing along with me, just so that can help to stay solidified in your mind. And I want you to take this message to him. But there is a reason why you are watching this today. There's a reason why you decided to, that message really spoke to you. And I bet it's because you're looking for a way to take your business, or maybe even your connection with God, to that next level. And so I'm going to take just a second to be able to give you an amazing free gift that I feel inspired to be able to give to you today. So I have this mini course called Business Meetings with God. This is over $150 value, and I want to give this to you today for free. And what this is going to do is it's going to help you to increase your divine guidance in your business. Because guess what? We can find an answer to any problem that we are having in our business in the Word of God. You just have to know where to look. And so I want to be able to give that to you. You're going to identify the Lord's next step for you, just one step at a time. You're going to be able to have a really powerful tool called Brainstorming with God that my clients have been able to find amazing success with. You're also going to have a powerful business agenda with your divine CEO, because who better to partner with than God? And that comes in 5 modules and 1 worksheet, and I'm giving that to you today for free. So what I want you to do is take out your phone, and I want you to just go to the phone camera option, and then just hover over that QR code, that box right there with all the squiggly weirdness. And when you hover over that, it will pop up that says something like, do you want to go to Divinely Driven Results? Click on that and then fill in your information, and you will get this sent straight to you. You'll actually have instant access to this online portal with your Business Meetings with God mini course that you are absolutely going to love. So, just think about what is possible for you and what you could do with more increased divine guidance in your business. I have a couple of clients here who absolutely adore this mini course. And it's one of those building blocks in order to be able to help you to achieve your goals that you're looking to reach. I have a client here who she was really, really struggling with wanting to build her business in the Lord's way, but she just didn't know how she could turn her normal prayers and her normal communication with God into something a little more focused. And when she was able to do that, she really was able to take her business to the next level. And she did actually achieve that goal that you see here on the screen. So that's just kind of a little taste. So make sure you scan that QR code. And I just want to leave you with this scripture. It's one of my favorites from Philippians 4:13 that says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. We do have the ability and the power to take back our thoughts and our feelings. We do have the ability to be able to achieve those goals and those dreams. And the Lord wants us to be able to do so that we can be a light to others. So thank you so much for joining us in this master class here today. And, just make sure you're always thinking about those 4 C's to control those thoughts and to achieve that purpose that God has given you.